At the 2024 ITS America Conference and Expo, the intelligent transportation community meets in Phoenix, Arizona to discuss the latest innovation and research in intelligent transportation systems. The program explores a wide range of topics, from connected and automated vehicles to digital infrastructure, sustainability to AI innovations, and much more. And it's ITS TV right here to show you the safer, greener, smarter transportation of the future. Welcome to the Phoenix Convention Center and episode 1 of ITS TV 2024. Today we're taking a closer look at digital infrastructure innovations, from sensors and software to connected systems. We get an overview of the US DOT's digital infrastructure projects and explore some of the outdoor demonstrations on display at the conference this year. We learn more about the infrastructure requirements for autonomous vehicles and take a closer look at the Arizona Commerce Authority Institute of Automated Mobility. We'll also hear more about the nation's first connected and automated vehicle corridor and discuss how data can be used to make transportation safer and more efficient. As you can see, we have an exciting program coming up, so stay tuned for our first interview. You're watching ITS TV. I'm joined by Brian Cronin with the U.S. Department of Transportation. Brian, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Now, why is digital infrastructure such an important focus for the Department of Transportation?
The transportation system is so dynamic that everything changes all the time. There's work zones, there's incidents, there are crashes. Even the traffic signal changes all the time. And so understanding how the system changes and providing digital messages to drivers, to pedestrians, to bicyclists can be a game changer in improving safety.
What are some of the projects that your office is working on to improve digital infrastructure?
Right now, we are launching the National V2X, or Vehicle to Everything Deployment Plan. It's a plan to help provide leadership to our industry on the communications technology options that are needed to deploy digital messaging. It's an opportunity to advance transportation that we can do together, and this plan provides a roadmap for how the nation can lead in deploying vehicle-to-everything technology.
Is there any other research that you're focusing on or about to deploy?
Right now, we're really focused on technical assistance and training. We have a cohort of 31 state and local agencies that are deploying this technology now, and we're working with them hand in hand to make sure they can do it well and that the community can get value from the start.
And how do you see this technology developing in the next 10 years?
In the next 10 years, it's going to be a joint deployment from public sector-led infrastructure applications to begin with, so we can plow our roads faster, do transit services faster. And then over time, our automotive sector is going to be adding this capability into the vehicle you buy. And so in 10 years, there's going to be these game-changing safety applications that are going to ensure that you get home safely.
Wow. Well, Brian, thank you so much for joining us today. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you.
At every ITS conference, demonstrations are one of the highlights for attendees. It's a fun way to see some of the latest tech in action. And if you're lucky, you even get to try it out. We're here at the outdoor demonstration area to take a closer look at new developments in automated vehicles and learn more about the PAVE campaign.
We are providing demo rides in our autonomous vehicles. We have about a 15-minute loop that we're doing around the convention center here in downtown Phoenix. For a lot of people, it makes them nervous. You hear a lot of people say, I would never get in one of those. And so we're here to try to give people a chance to experience it and get used to how it feels to ride in the car without a driver. What we have found is there's a big chasm between where the technology is and where the public is. When we run public surveys, what we find is a lot of people, like we were talking about, say, I don't trust that, I don't understand it, I would never get in one. And we feel like there's a lot of potential to this technology, but we're never going to get there if we don't have the public on board.
PAVE is dedicated to that purpose, which is really to educate people on where is autonomy today, what are your responsibilities as a driver today, helping people to better understand what's on the roads today, what's coming, and how do we get to that point in the future where you're going to see more of these types of vehicles and, heavy trucks on the road too. And so that's what we really want to try to build better awareness for, both from a consumer level and within, regulators, legislators, and other folks who are visiting this conference.
We want people to understand that it's really quite safe and uneventful to take a ride in an autonomous vehicle. People have compared it to, riding around with a very risk-averse granny driver, right? And that's the idea. We don't want it to be exciting. Transportation is really utilitarian to people. So when they have that first experience, we want them to come away feeling that, like, oh, that was just a very standard and utilitarian experience that could augment my life, right? That could make my life easier.
I'm joined now by Curtis McBride with Myovision. Hi, Curtis. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Pretty good. So Myovision is supporting cities. How are they helping with the implementation of digital infrastructure?
Yeah, so we really led the way on this idea of the smartphone of the intersection. So we think about the intersection as, if we can give you one piece of hardware that can do all the things that you used to have to buy 10 pieces of hardware to do, this is a much more capital efficient, much easier deployment strategy than the industry's been in for 30 years. We kind of led the way on that concept.
And how is this making cities more safe and more efficient?
Yeah, I mean, one of the examples would be, I'll give you an example of a thing called a conflict analysis. So traditionally, when we want to understand cities, we study the conflict history. So last 10 years, how many crashes happened at this intersection? Okay, wow, this intersection is really punching above its weight. A lot of crashes are happening here. We should fix it. We should do something about it. With the conflict analysis, you're constantly looking for near misses. So where the crash didn't quite happen, but it almost did. Those happen way more frequently than actual crashes. And this can give us a much earlier indication of where we might have an unsafe intersection. It's one of the things that we provide cities.
Why is reliable data so important for this?
I mean, data is becoming, data is the new oil. It's been said. Data is super valuable to drive outcomes. You can't improve what you can't measure. And so data is super important. The data is generated not just from Myovision, but from lots of different vendors in the industry. And we believe that as almost like a core value of the industry, we need to really move to a collaboration and interoperability model way more so than we already are in today.
Where do you see this industry in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think there's change is coming. Change is coming to this industry, and it's either going to happen through us or to us. And I think if we get the architecture and the collaboration, the spirit of collaboration right, I think this industry can sort of lead the way on bringing the connected vehicle future into existence. I do worry that if we don't, if we try to dig our heels in and stay in the 20th century, that someone from outside, big automotive, big tech, is going to come in and make the change for us.
Really good information. Thank you so much for joining us, Curtis.
Thank you.
Innovation is at the forefront of intelligent transportation systems, and automated vehicles are a key component for making mobility safer, more sustainable, and more equitable. The Institute of Automated Mobility of the Arizona Commerce Authority brings together experts from private industry, government, and academia to deploy automation to significantly increase safety and efficiency. Keep watching to find out more.
For self-driving cars, we're going to see some revolutionary progress. I feel I'm fortunate to be involved in this technological development, and I'm also fortunate to be here. This is the right place to develop this technology and make it commercially available and benefit the society.
The IAM is a consortium, a public-private partnership that part of this collaboration is really coming together in order to help prepare the state and the region and our communities around preparing for advanced mobility. Some of the things that we're seeing on the streets today, self-driving cars, what we're trying to work on today around connected vehicles as well. We lose 100 people a day in the United States, and the number's higher globally, for people that are injured or killed on the roadways. And every little bit that we can do to make those safer, you just can't help but be excited about that.
Joining me now is Salika Talbot. She is a mobility thought leader. And Salika, what is a mobility thought leader?
Thank you for having me. Mobility centers around the movement of people, goods, and information. My work impacts policy so that those who are inventing understand real-world implications for their creations.
And how are improvements in digital infrastructure, how does that help the successful deployment of these vehicles?
Absolutely. We're going to need vehicle-to-vehicle communication, vehicle-to-infrastructure communication, smart cities, traffic connectivity. All those things will help the technology advance much quicker, allowing greater safety.
What are some of the gaps that you see?
Sure. Well, part of it is government doesn't always understand what they're dealing with. They haven't caught up with the technology in terms of policy, regulation, and enforcement. And until we get to that space, we're going to have a really hard time having consistent movement across the country from autonomous vehicles.
Now, you have a children's book.
Yes, I do. Sammy and Sally Move Around Town. The book centers around the mobility safety concerns for children. 3 children die every day in America. The book centers on safe principles to keep our children able to move in society without fear of crashes.
And do you think autonomous vehicles can reduce that number?
Autonomous vehicles don't drive drunk, drug, or distracted, and I do think that they will help our streets be much safer for all people as we move around town.
Where do you see this industry in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think within about 5 to 10 years, they'll be ubiquitous everywhere, and we will certainly have understood both the policy responsibilities and upgraded the technology throughout that time.
All right. Salika Talbot, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We're ITS TV, your daily news show featuring interviews and discussions on hot topics in intelligent transportation systems from this year's conference. You can catch us around the convention center in Phoenix, on the ITS website, social media, and YouTube, with new content available each day. Make sure you keep watching. We're here with Chris Armstrong. He is Vice President of Product at Cavnu. Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you're working on improving digital infrastructure. Why do you think that's key to the future of our roadways?
Well, I think we're going through a major change in transportation. We have been building roadways for a long time in the United States, and we're very used to them being these big physical assets that we have to manage, the pavement, the traffic signals, the highways, the bridges. But now we have the technology tools in our hands to turn those into digital assets where we really understand their condition at all times. And digital infrastructure is really the key and the core to bringing that to life.
What will these roads look like?
Our hope is that we gain full awareness of what's happening on the road at all times. So with a series of technology capabilities and integrated sensors, we can see everything that's happening on the road, and we can warn people as soon as it happens. So whether that's a crash or a collision, or something as simple as an air mattress falling off the side of the road, an animal being hit on the side of the road, those are things that we can detect very quickly and warn people about immediately.
What specific projects are you all working on right now?
At Cavnu, we're fortunate to have 2 wonderful partnerships. One is in the state of Michigan, the other is in the state of Texas, where we're bringing this technology to life and really understanding what's happening on these roadways where we're deploying in real time at all times.
What type of technology is being used?
So at Cavnu, we've built what we refer to as a next generation road instrumentation system. It is a continuous field of view coverage, camera, and sensor capability where we can see every inch of the highway, all the lanes at all times, and we can not only understand what happens right away, but we can more importantly detect emerging safety risks that happen over time as well.
How long do you think it will be to get this technology more widely spread across the country?
My hope is, in transportation technology, we can move really fast, but we also have to be thoughtful in transportation about making changes and bringing new capabilities to the roadway. So I really hope we see this come to life in the next 3 to 5 years, and people have the experience of always knowing what's happening on the road ahead.
Chris, a lot of great insight. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you.
That's it for our first episode of ITS TV 2024, but we're back tomorrow, where we'll be focusing on the use of AI in intelligent transportation. Before then, you can watch the show here at the Convention Center and online. And don't forget to subscribe and follow ITS TV on social media. We'll see you tomorrow.